street?
Yes, Stephen. Unfortunately, sometimes things happen and people lose their homes. They go to places called shelters and live with other families.
What? They don't have their home or bed to sleep in? I need to help them.
That is a conversation that Stephen and I had 12 years ago when he was only 5 years old. Who would have thought when we walked down the halls of the Peter Lougheed Hospital to pick up our newly adopted little boy that he would take us on this incredible journey? We had all these wonderful plans to bring him up and give him the very best life could give. Little did we know the depth of compassion and love for humanity that this little one would teach us. At the age of 4, our little one was diagnosed with autism. We worked hard the next year educating ourselves and putting a village around him for his speech and sensory issues. At the tender age of 5, Stephen overheard my husband and I talking about a homeless man on the front of the newspaper. He was busy playing in the other room. He came into the kitchen and asked me that life-changing question. "Mummy, are there kids on the street?" It took Stephen a few weeks to think of how he wanted to help these children who had lost everything, their homes, their beds, their schools, and their friends. He was going to make, as he called them, packpacks. My husband and I were thrilled at that kind of compassion from a 5-year-old on the autistic spectrum. It was not common. I will never forget that Christmas of 2006 making backpacks for kids of all ages. We made 15 beautiful backpacks filled with the love of a compassionate 5-year-old. They were filled with toys, socks, hygiene items, school supplies, mitts, hats, scarves, and of course, it's Christmas, a candy bag. Stephen was a visual learner and we wanted him to experience the gift of giving. I phoned in from the cold, and Christmas Eve our family went to the shelter, and Stephen blessed a 16-year-old boy with Down syndrome. The boy's face lit up as Stephen handed him the backpack. Stephen experienced what it felt like to give a gift of hope. It was the most memorable Christmas Eve we ever had. It was quiet on our drive home, as we all could not stop thinking of what that must be like to be in a shelter on Christmas Eve. The next year, again, Stephen asked if the children were still on the street. When I told him it was an ongoing problem in our city, he simply said, "I'll need to make bigger backpacks." And that we did. The editor of the Airdrie Echo was a friend of mine, Ann Beattie, and when she heard what he wanted to do again, she came over to do a story on what Stephen was doing. She told him how proud she was of him and asked how many backpacks he wanted to do this year. He did not hesitate. 150? I just about fell off my chair. I tried to be a good mom and tell Stephen that maybe we should do 20 or 25, since we'd only done 15 the year before. That 150 was really a lot. He simply looked at me and smiled and said, "Dream out loud, Mummy." Well, my Stephen taught me a lot that year. We completed 265 backpacks. I almost had to move out of our home. We got a beautiful school bus donated, and Christmas Eve, along with many friends and a media crew from CTV, delivered these wonderful backpacks in from the cold. So here we are 12 years later, 350 corporate sponsors, that we could not do any of this without their loyalty and their support. Our first corporate sponsor was All Fits, and they have donated every year since. A very special thank you to Brett and his team. Our 500 plus volunteers every year, many of them families, that have made this a part of their Christmas tradition. Hockey teams, 4-H clubs, Girl Guides, Sparks, soccer teams, all come together over these past 12 years to help over 61,000 children across Alberta. We distribute these backpacks to over 40 shelters and Indigenous communities. Just to give you a few examples, Morley, Siksika, Peekani, In From the Cold, Brenda Strafford, Sheldon Kennedy, Awaton, and many, many more. We have helped over 32 families come off the street and completely furnish their apartments with brand new furniture. MacArthur furniture, I might add. I wanted to move in when we finished these places through our Project Hope. We also have footprints where over 15,000 pairs of running shoes have been given to children in need. At Stephen's Backpacks, we really value our long-term relationships with our corporate sponsors. Some of them include Superior Paint and Auto and Economy Glass, the Prosser Foundation, and Olympia Trust Foundation. We could not do this without all of you. We have just been given an office space in Airdrie, along with a grant to hire an executive assistant, which will certainly make my job a lot easier. The newest division of Stephen's Backpacks is the A-Team. Stephen will mentor other children with autism who are interested in woodworking, and they will do all sorts of projects. Our garage at home has been converted into a perfect workshop for the A-Team to make solid pine tables, birdhouses, and spinners. Stephen wants to be a finishing carpenter and has designed a beautiful, beautiful table. Proceeds will go to help his children in need through Stephen's Backpacks. A special thank you to Andrew for heading up this project and dreaming out loud with Stephen. Stephen has always looked at his autism as a part of who he is, not all of who he is. He's played football the past 3 years under an amazing coach class. He actually scored his first touchdown, and it has been said that this was the best play of the year. It was a life-changing moment for our Stephen. He is returning to help the coach this year as he is graduating grade 12 and will be attending SAIT to complete his carpentry degree. He's taking driving lessons and has his eye on a Ford truck. He is a young man who has never lost the passion to be the voice for children in need. When his dad passed away 2 years ago, I was really worried that he may lose heart for his charity, as his dad was president. I told him we could take a year off if he wanted. Stephen stated emphatically that he wanted to make his dad proud, and that he did. In 2018, we doubled our numbers of backpacks from 3,000 to an astounding 6,000 in 1 year. So here we are, celebrating May 4th and the Yellow Hat legacy. As I reflect over the last 12 years, I am filled to overflowing with the numbers of volunteers, corporate sponsors, families, and friends who have come together to light up our community. The sea of yellow hats shows me how each and every one of you want to make our world a better place. The past 2 years have been very difficult, but one thing has always kept me going: the constant love and support that our city has shown my family. It is a treasure never to be taken lightly. Thank you. It's hard to believe where this journey has taken us. It has been the most memorable experience. And so, I leave you with these simple words that changed my life forever, and I hope it will change yours.
Dream out loud, Mummy.